Listen, I tell people that I got a couple Michael Jordan stories. So in 1984, I get invited to the Olympic trials, and there's probably at least 30 Hall of Famers was in on there. We started with like 120 players, and my coach says, Charles, I want you to go to the Olympic trials. You've been invited. I said, Coach, Bobby Knight, I don't know about him, blah, 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 blah. He says, no, just go. He said, I think you're the best player in the country. I want you to go there and prove it. So I go there. So we go. We got 120. And like I said, it's probably 30 or 40 Hall of Famers. Everybody who ever played in NBA in the last 30 years was there. So they go 120 to 100, 80, 60, 40, 20. And then they finally cut me. And I was pissed at Bobby Knight because he never gave me a fair chance because I was the second best player there by far. I was definitely the second best player there. I'll get to the story. So
you know who was in front of you?
Draymond.
Draymond Green.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to tell you something. So I'm going to the airport. It's me, Karl Malone, John Stockton, and Terry Porter. So I get cut. I go back to college. And Sonny says, hey, I talked to John Thompson. I said, yeah, what did he say? He says, you were the second best player there. I said, yeah, Coach, I was the second best player there. And he says, who was the best player there? I said, Coach, I just saw the best basketball player I ever seen in my life. His name is Michael Jordan. He's from North Carolina. I said, I've never seen a basketball player. Like, I thought I was a really good player, but this guy is the best player. I mean, he says, he plays for North Carolina. I said, Coach, I don't know where he plays. I think he plays for North Carolina. But I said, this dude, he's really black. He's got really black. We called him Black Cat. Yeah, we called him Black Cat. But I said, this dude is the best I've ever seen. That's my first recollection of Michael. So then I don't make the team, obviously. So we're playing together on the Dream Team. So we're playing in Portland, Oregon in the Tournament of the Americas. So me, Chuck Daly, David Robinson, and Michael go out and play the morning of a game. We're not playing at like 8 o'clock at night. So we go play. We play 18. And Chuck says, okay, that was a great time. Michael says, now I'm going to play another 18. We're like, Michael, we got a game tonight. He said, Chuck, I'll be fine, blah, blah, blah. So Michael comes back after playing another 18. We're getting ready for the game. Chuck says, hey, Charles, you got this guy. Patrick, or David or Patrick, whoever started that night. Scotty, you got this guy. And then Michael says, he says, somebody, you got this guy. Michael said, no, I got him. And it was the point guard from Puerto Rico. And Chuck said, well, he's the point guard, Michael. Michael looks at him. He says, I said I got him. I read something he said about me in the newspaper, and I got him. And the whole room's like, dude, you just played 36 holes of golf, and coach says, and you're going to go out to point guard. Michael would not let this little dude dribble. He's talking to him. You know that old stupid drill where you try to turn guys that you're like, no, you can't go. Go, turn the other way. Michael had played 36 holes of golf, and he's talking to the guy the whole time, Cal. Hey, don't you ever talk about me publicly again. I'm Michael Jordan. Don't you ever talk about me. And then when we get to the Olympics, he's like, we played Croatia, and that was Tony Kukoc. And remember, Tony Kukoc was making more money than Michael and Scotty at the time. And Chuck says, you got this guy. And Michael and Scotty said at the same time, no, we got him. And Scott and Tony came in averaging about 35 to 40 points a game. You know, the international team, their best player he don't have a green light. He got like a purple light. They held this guy to like single digits. I think he ended up going like 6 for 30, but they would not let this guy. When Michael makes up his mind to be competitive, like
so I got to ask you, the worst thing you could do is piss him off. Am I right?
Yes.
Like don't engage him, right?
He take it because it's gonna be personal.
Yeah, and he tried to engage you to make it personal. Like,
yeah.
So I'll give you Kerry Kittle's rookie, 17 points in the first quarter. I sit down and Kenny Gaddison is my assistant. He's sitting beside me. and Michael's staring me down. And I look at Kenny and I said, is he looking at me? And Kenny looks up. I think he is. So I kind of tilt my head up like, why is he looking at me? And he went like that. And I turned away real quick and I said, Kenny, what do you think that means? I don't think he's going to let Kittles get another basket. Charles, he didn't score another basket in 3 quarters. He didn't.
You know, Cal, I tell people this. The closest I've ever seen to Michael is probably Kobe. That's no disrespect to LeBron. I compare LeBron more to Magic.
But I got to stop you. Didn't LeBron try to see everything Michael did and tried to mimic almost everything?
He's not a natural born killer. Listen, that's the big difference. LeBron is a nice guy. Like
he's a hell of a player now too. He's big.
He's unbelievable.
Hey, that's the biggest point guard you'll ever see.
No, I'm saying he is a great person and a great player. The thing that separates Michael and Kobe, and you've seen all the teasers for this documentary. Michael says, I want to win at all costs. He wants to win at all costs. I think Kobe is the exact same way. LeBron wants to win, but I don't think it's life or death to him. Michael was obsessed. Like I said, he's obsessed with I have to win and I'm going to win.
Let me give you one story and one thought. So we're playing them in the playoffs in New Jersey. We hadn't been in the playoffs in years. And unfortunately, we got the 8 seed. So now you got to play Chicago. Best of 5 back then. We go to Chicago. We play well, have a chance to win. Michael steals the ball from, I believe, Kendall Gill last play of the game and lays it in. We lose by 2 or 4. So, but there's a timeout, Charles. He comes in. We're at 32nd. He comes in and sticks his head in our timeout. What do you think I said to him?
You should have cursed him out.
Gee, I didn't say one word. I looked the other way. Like, I'm not engaging this dude. So he kind of stuck his head in. And then when the team broke, he walked with me down the sideline now. And then when I walked back to the bench, I'm walking back and I'm looking at Kenny Gadd. I says, he following me? Like, if he had grabbed my arm, I would have said, excuse me. I'm sorry. I don't know what I did. But again, if you made him mad and engaged him, it was all you, because he would not only do it, he would tell you, I'm doing it because he was competitive. Now, let me ask you, here's my opinion. I'll give you an example. There are players that played in an era, the guys at Utah, I can name others, that played in that area and it went from Detroit to Chicago to Boston, and you're in with those 4 Hall of Famers on one team. And so I think some of this should be by era, like how you're judging LeBron and Michael, or how about Michael and Wilt? You know what I'm saying? Or how about Wilt and Mikan? I mean, I think it's almost like there's an era, and this guy was the best in that era. But for Michael, people don't realize he also guarded. Like, he was
the best defender.
And maybe, would you say during your time in the league, he was the best defender?
Easily the best defender. But I think the difference is, listen, this is my list. Michael's 1, Oscar Robertson's 2.
Yep. Yeah, here's another one in his era. Who was better?
Russell, Wilt, and Kareem. No particular order after Michael. Kobe 6, LeBron 7. Then you got Elgin Baylor, Jerry West,
Anthony Davis. I'm throwing Anthony in there somewhere.
Well, he's not in there yet. But, I love LeBron and everything about him, but I do think the way they play the game today, he didn't want any part of those bad boy Pistons. Let me tell you something. Those guys are out there trying to hurt people. Those guys are out there. I used to always tell people, when you were going to play the Pistons, you got to call home and tell your family you love them just in case you never saw them again. Like they were out there really trying to hurt people. And that's one of the reasons that's one of the reasons I always tell people when they have this debate, I said, listen, no disrespect. I said, Kobe's the close-ops team to Michael, and I got none but respect for LeBron, but they done changed the rules where you can't touch people now.
Hey, were you playing when they did the hand check where you could put your hand? Mo Cheeks told me that he could put his hand on the guy's waist, and I think it may have been Oscar that would guide players because he was long, and you could grab their waist.
When you could hand check, some guys were so strong in their hands, you could do anything you want to, and you couldn't move. Like they were just like palming your body basically, and there was nothing you could do. I mean, some of these guys were out there, they were just so physically strong, and it was mainly the guards. It's hard to control big bodies, but there were some guards who had such strong hands, you could not move if you were a guard. They had you on total control.